What I would say is that, first of all, people everywhere discover how sincere are you, how much sincerity in the words, how much passion, how much you believe that. I believe that was possible to defeat Pinochet, I have no doubt. The question was, how I'm going to make the other people believe that? Number two, I have to be able to go to knock the door of every house in Chile and say, I invite you to say no, because 1, 2, 3, 4. I discovered that in a democratic country it's much more difficult to say, knock the door and say, I'm coming to invite you to vote for me. It's quite different to say to vote against a dictator than to say, because it's not very humble to knock the door at your house and say, I want to invite you to vote for me. You see? Because I think that I know better than you what has to be done in this country. Not very humble. I always used to say, politicians is a profession not for very humble people, you know. They have to tell you why they wanted to. But better you have good ideas. This is what I'm trying to say. Better you believe what you are talking about. Otherwise, it should not. Second, I think that the way that you are going to defeat a dictatorship is extremely important with what kind of political system will you have afterwards. Because we defeated through a plebiscite, then it was possible to have the transition that we have. It was not perfect. Of course, it was not. But at least it was possible to have a non-violent transition. There have been so many people being killed, so many people that disappeared, so many people, etc., etc. But afterwards, in our transition, we were able to have a presidential commission to see what happened. We have a dialogue, and as a result of that dialogue, I remember that the commander-in-chief went to see me one day and said, Mr. President, do you want to know the truth? Yes, I want the truth. Well, many of those that disappear were thrown away in the ocean, are in the ocean. And I remember that they asked him, what did you put on the ocean? A human being or a body? A dead body. And he told me, a dead body. It's very strong, that, don't you think so? But that's the way we did our transition. And this is why then, later, we make some other things, like trying to do things in the area of human rights violations, political prisoners, torture, and things like that. But I think that that's the only way to do it. And I think that because we did a non-violent, then we have a non-violence transition. And that is why it's so important then what kind of instruments are you going to use. Now, it's true, Chile used to be a democratic country according to our traditions. I never thought, when I was studying or when I was young, that I was going to be living through a dictatorship in Chile. For me, that was impossible to think about. In some other countries, maybe, but not here. But you never know. And the fact is that later on, well, we discovered that and it was important. Yeah.